The title of this book is Riding the Edge. The riding I can understand. What's the edge?
The edge, I actually quote this individual in the book, but there's a famous philosopher, it's a Jewish philosopher, who said about the middle path, he said that's where the horses defecate. And he was making a very interesting statement, which is, sometimes we have to live life really close to the precipice to feel the danger, the excitement, the vulnerability, the passion. It's never by playing it safe, okay? And we can't always live like that because it's too intense. But sometimes we have to open ourselves up to another person and allow them to see us. That's riding the edge, okay? Sometimes we have to make decisions that we're in the wrong job, even though it's giving us security, because it doesn't provide us with the kind of creative stimulation that we need, and we choose to leave that position. That's riding the edge. Okay? There are many riding the edge examples of life where it's wise to try to take the riskier step, because really the riskier step is usually the more conservative step, because it's one that ultimately leads to what you deeply and really want. Whereas sometimes the commitment to too much security prevents us from getting what we deeply need and want. So riding the edge was because we had intense experiences. I mean, there were no mediocre, boring experiences. Really, I mean, I'm sure there must have been some, but I don't really recall them, and I certainly didn't write about them. So our experiences were always edgy. And we were edgy a lot through really inclement weather and difficult, challenging, circumstances and living conditions that were horrific at times. But
it's interesting because sometimes riding a bike over long stretches of terrain, you might think it's a kind of not a particularly edgy kind of thing to do.
Well, what you might use the word for boring, I called meditative. And climbing up a very steep grade, say 18%, with about 95 Fahrenheit temperature and about the same humidity, is not exactly a mellow, experience. It's a very, very challenging, difficult, physically difficult, demanding experience. Riding through the rain. We had days and days where the rain did not stop. Everything, we were soaked to the bone, miserable. But we got through it.
Right.
And got through it enough to write about it. I wrote a lot about it. I wrote about, first of all, resiliency, the ability to handle tough situations. We whined a bit. You have to whine. I mean, complaining is part of the experience. But we did it.